us, the committee, Art Bain, me, Elaine Walker, and Bill Walter. There was a couple of other guys that were very prominent in the beginning. And so we would go down to the Huntington Library, the little one, the annex, on New York Avenue there, and we would dicker with them about how much they're going to charge us for letting our people use their library. And it would be like, they'd count the number of cards or something like that, So we got sick of that. And we were talking it over, and all that. And they figured, well, this is kind of an item that we could get rid of if we had our own library. So that's what they did. And then the school district offered to give us a place to start. And it was the basement of Central School. But we didn't have a librarian. We didn't have any books. So we said, well, we'll have to get some books.
And I've never forgot Mrs. George Goodson. She was so eager to help us, and she was on the board of trustees, one of the first members. I still remember her. And we put the books together and put them on the shelves, and the public finally came in 1961 when we opened up in the basement. And I never forgot when a Dr. Lettuce came and said from the Board of Trustees that we would need a director for the South Huntington Public Library. And I never forgot Mrs. Avis Duckworth, a lady from the Midwest, came, and we were so thrilled. She was our first director. And almost 2.5 years later, we actually got our first charter for the South Huntington Public Library.
The library has always been one of my favorite places. As a child growing up in Brooklyn, I visited the local public library with my parents and my sister just about every Saturday afternoon. I can remember spending hours there, reading as much as I could, and then leaving with a huge stack of books for the week. It's no surprise that I fell in love with reading at a young age, and I consider myself lucky that I did. Today, as a parent, teacher, and library trustee, I know that the library is a vital resource in the community, one that has the power to enrich and even change lives. That's why it's so gratifying to be a part of the South Huntington Public Library, which for 50 years has consistently delivered high-quality, traditional, and innovative services that meet the needs of the people in our diverse community.
Dorothy is my tutor in English. I learning English and writing and reading. I passed my test, the citizenship, and now I need more to reading and speaking.
For better jobs,
yeah,
right?
I'm looking for a better job.
And that was really a proud moment to take my friend Yolanda, who only had 50 words of English, to so many more, and citizenship so many years later. It was a proud moment for me to be there and to watch her become a citizen of the United States of America.
Looking to the future, I'm especially excited about the expansion of our young adult library, a project that is currently in the planning stages and is sure to have a positive, lasting impact on the community for generations to come.
Well, I like the fun program, and I like coming here to do my homework and stuff. And I like obsessing about these books.
In the years that I've been here in this library, and I've been here since 1961, I have never met a staff that the library has that is any better than the staff that we have now. Everybody here is making every one of us seniors healthy, happy, and wonderfully pleased with what's going on. From the top to the bottom, the staff is wonderful in every way. Thank you.
I moved here in April of 1976, and it was the week of Easter recess, so the first thing I did was join the South Huntington Library. And even then I was impressed at how many cars were always there. It was a little dampness in the parking lot, but I could live with that. It has always been my salvation Before I even had children, it was such a friendly place to be. I didn't know anybody in the community yet because I was working full time. So the people in the library became my friends, and they would just chat with me as I took out my books. Professionally, as a school educator, there were so many professional items that came in so handy for me. Mr. Zotti, I think of him often. He's buried in St. Pat's near my husband. And I just remember how dedicated he was about making sure the machinery worked, whether it was the air conditioner or the computers at the desk. And I really felt he always defended the library, and he was wonderful that way. I always appreciate him and think of him fondly when I come up here, and it's nice to see his name and memory here.
All right, well, thank you for the chance to give you some of my recollections representing the South Huntington Library. Since 1966, so it's 45 years, when I was first interviewed by the trustees and the director of the library. And it's been a very pleasant 45 years, very professionally rewarding. And in thinking about what I was going to say, I think part of the success has been due in no small part to just the good fortune we've had in getting very good directors, every one of them, since I began 45 years ago, and the members of the board. I really found that both the directors and the members to be selfless, and what's amazed me has been no politics, either Democratic, Republican, or any other form of local politics, and the only interest of the directors and of the members of the board has been to just to do what's best for the library.
I think this library is wonderful. It's being used by many, many people throughout the community for various reasons. I happen to be a neighbor of Dan LaRosa, who I believe was the first president of the library, and worked for many years to help foster it, to bring it where it is today. And I like the movies, I like the summer programs outdoors. I think it's a wonderful thing, and I haven't heard anybody complain about the taxes on the library.
I like how it's big. When I took my cousins here, they were surprised how big it was compared to theirs.
When I was 6 or 7, 1961, going to what we referred to as the Central Library in the basement of the old Central High School. And I went there with my mom, and you had to go down the stairs, and going to the desk and meeting a librarian and getting my own library card. When I was in 9th grade or 8th grade in 1969, when the library opened, the second library that was built where the little old red schoolhouse used to be. It was a beautiful building. And walking in, and it was cool, and the air conditioning was going, and it was just a wonderful experience. I wanted to become a trustee because I wanted to perpetuate the library, the experience.
It's awesome. The South Huntington Public Library is the best place I ever went to. I love reading all their books, and I come here to do homework, and I usually finish it all here. Yes, and I wanted to get a movie. In a book and go on the computer. My mom wouldn't let us. At least I have Doritos in the truck.
The staff is tremendous. I got a lot of help. At one point I tried out a Motorola Zoom. I got one of the people there in the reference area who really explained how to do it, got me through it.
I think they've done a tremendous job giving the public a great environment and a great library, great ROI.
It's the nicest library I was ever in, and I've been in so many libraries all my life. Everybody loves it, you never have any complaints. The help is great, and you make so many friends here.
Our family has been in the community for over 25 years. We've come here on Fridays for family date nights out. We've enjoyed health and wellness classes, taking Pilates and yoga. We've taken cooking classes. as a mother and a daughter project through the years, we've come to prepare our taxes and get tax information, and it's been a wonderful resource in the community. It's my privilege to be a board trustee.
Well, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said it's my privilege to be a board trustee, so to be able to serve the community. I feel the library has given us so much through the years that, you want me to say at the end, as a board trustee?
You just said it.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't turn it off.
Okay, all right. That's really the way I feel about it. As a board trustee, I am delighted and privileged to serve the community because the South Huntington Public Library has always been here to serve our family and the community as a whole.
The library is very active in the community. It's like a little bit of piece of glue. It draws people in from all over the area.
I like how they have like all the books you want, and they have the games, and they have a lot of manga, and I love the manga section. It's really cool.
Libraries have always been important to me because my dad was an English teacher, and so from a very young age he wanted to promote well reading in our house, and so every Saturday we go to the library. So when I came to South Huntington, one of the first places I came to was on Melville Road, and that was the first library that I went to, the South Huntington Library. Years later, when Ken was at the helm of the library trying to get support for the building of a new library, I was one of his staunch supporters of that because I felt it was an important move for us. I was on the board for a few years during that transition when the library was started, and I feel very, very proud of the fact that the people supervising this project did such a terrific job in creating what I feel is the center of our community. We don't have a downtown, and I'm just very proud to be a member of this community and very happy to have been part of the South Huntington Library family.
When you think of library, you think of books, and you think of reading, and that's as it should be. But there's something about this particular library that is so much more than just books and reading. From the very first time I came to the new library, just the exterior, just the architecture, it's stimulating. It's beautiful even before you enter the building.
Well, I was always impressed with the old library, and I haven't yet to see the inside of this one, but I can only see from the outside. It looks beautiful.
You just went inside, so now what do you think?
Impressive. You guys rang the bell on this one. I'll tell you, it's beautiful in there. It just really makes you want to stay and read books.
And the cool thing about being on the board of the Friends of the Library is that on occasion I get to choose or be a part of what is chosen to be the cultural event or the creative event. I get to add my 2 cents and feel a part of it. And it's work, but it's fulfilling work, and I've met some really great people through being on the board.
I think the library is the greatest thing. One of the things that people underappreciate is all the things that are available to them in the town of Huntington. And one of the jewels is this library.
I have such fond memories of the South Huntington Public Library. Originally, no, because what happened was one summer, I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade, my mom told me, "You're not sitting around, you're reading." And I was like, oh God, I don't want to read. I wasn't a reader. I really wasn't interested in reading. So she forced me to sign up for the summer reading program that you guys had. And I remember the first book I took out was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And that was it. I was hooked. And I'm glad to see that the school district and the library work so well together. And still today to have a summer reading program.
Well, you get a book, report on it, and you get a prize if you report on it and you read the whole book.
And Liam was year and a half, and when we bought the house, and I was looking for a place to meet other moms my age and children Liam's age and get involved. And someone had suggested to go to the old library. And like instantly we had, like, you guys had these great little programs. I remember it was a music therapy program. He got so much out of it. I don't think he maybe doesn't remember it right now, but I think it paid off because to this day he's 10 and he's musically inclined. And what was really nice is that when I had Toby, the library started a mother's group, which was really terrific because now we had like 20 women come together, children of all ages. We could share advice and learn from other moms and help younger moms. And to this day, I still have girlfriends from that group.
I definitely think that going into the children's department and getting a book to read, mostly now I pick a graphic novel, I think it's fun just to sit there and read. It's a good place to relax.
In 1962, we moved to Huntington Station, and we started going to the library almost immediately. But there was a feeling of peopleness there that made it a very welcoming place. The staff was always wonderful. And Mr. Joe was there, I think, and he was the reference librarian, and he was terrific. And I remember Mrs. Ryerson, who was always at the desk, smiling. Precious person. People who live here know the merits of the community, and yes, we all should be very proud of what we have here, especially in the library. I was a board member for many years, and I always took pride in saying that I was a member of the South Huntington Public Library. I always felt that was my claim to fame.
Okay.
Hi. Hi.
So why do you come to the library?
Well, I like hanging out with Taylor at the library.
Yeah, sometimes I like hanging out with her, and the books are cool too.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I remember when it had its beginning 50 years ago. I was already teaching in South Huntington schools. In fact, I was teaching at Central School when the library opened in the basement. It was very crowded, and because of that, they were, almost from the beginning looking for a new place to have it where they would have more room. When they changed the library over to Depot Road, we were very involved because they asked for volunteers. I guess they had no money. And many families volunteered, that kids came, and we had a great time. A lot of work, hard work, but we loaded up our cars with boxes of books and things and took it all over to Depot Road, so it was really some experience.
I think this is the best library ever built. I get all my books here, the people are so nice, it's laid out so beautifully. Love my library. Thank you.
In my opinion, the library has been very wise, because when I look back and see that I didn't make any money on litigating for the library, that's a tribute to the library. So that we had, in 45 years, we had one case where I had to bill separately for outside work, and that was an unfounded human relations claim that was dismissed. And that's the only claim. And that happens because the director is alert to preventing situations from rising rather than resolving them afterward. And so we've been very fortunate.
I remember very clearly the old Central School where Mrs. Helen Tynan was the reference librarian, and she helped me get through library school. While I was doing all of this work in the reference department, they were with Mrs. Jane Moore, who was the most wonderful children's librarian in the whole wide world. She remembered every kid. In 1997, Mrs. Lee asked me to run for the board as a replacement. That was one of the most wonderful experiences I have ever had. And the library has been the greatest thing going in this community. I mean, people just seem to flock here day and night. It is the true community center. I think that was foreseen.
I've been a resident of this community since 1958. My wife Antoinette and I have raised 3 sons in this wonderful community of South Huntington. I've been fortunate to be retired for 23 years. For these years, I have been active in supporting the AARP safety organization by giving driver safety classes for the residents each month at this library.
The library also provides, during February and April of each year, space for AARP volunteers to prepare income taxes free of charge for the residents of this community. It was a wonderful day for this community when a former director, Ken Weil, pursued successfully the almost impossible task of obtaining the funding to build this beautiful library. Ken had the foresight to bring in our present library director, Joe Latini, to help him with the design and overseeing the construction of the library. I would be remiss if I would close without saying how polite and professional every employee of this library conducts themselves. I am fortunate to be able to be part of this anniversary celebration. I thank you.
What do you think of the library?
I love it, love it, love it. My friend from England comes every year and she loves it. She says it's better than any library she has there. I don't know what I'd do without this library.
What else can I say? You've just got to love the library.
That's fine. Don't look at me.
Do it again.
Do it one more time and just stay staring at the camera.
All right.
And it was a fine smile.
All right, was it?
It was fine.
Okay.
You know, then I
All
think
right, let me
you're like,
see it. Maybe I won't do it again.
Okay.
The South Huntington Public Library serves as the center of our community. It is the place where people from all parts of our community can come and be together and learn. I was lucky enough to be here when we opened up this library, to have the chance to speak to them. And at that time I said something along the lines of, when you go outside, look at that building. You should look at the name on it. It's not the name of some contributor, it's not the name of some big donor, but it's the name of us, the people of South Huntington. We built this building, and we should never stop being proud of it.